Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Gillies and I'm recently moved to the area, so you will definitely not know who I am. And what else do you want me to know?
Well, a little bit about your businesses.
Okay.
What drove you into the businesses, and what kind of breakthroughs you had to move from one to the next?
Okay, so I was a physiotherapist for 16 years, both in the NHS and private practice. And so I qualified as a physiotherapist in 1996 and absolutely loved what I did. Worked with the NHS, which back then was very different to today, and I worked in an amazing big teaching hospital in London, and I absolutely loved it. I loved working with people, loved helping people. Was it my dream job? No, I'd rather have been a rock star or on stage, but my mum wasn't particularly didn't want me to go down that path, and I probably couldn't sing anyway. So it wasn't my dream job, but I absolutely loved it and did it for 16 years. But the latter years I was in private practice, and everyone said, oh, that's great, isn't it? Private practice, it's a great income. And it was, but you didn't get paid if you weren't at work. It was like an hourly rate. And I found it really solitary and a bit like a conveyor belt of patient after patient. And if people got better, it was great, but it meant they didn't come back. And if they didn't get better, they did come back, but they weren't very happy. So the actual satisfaction wasn't, how you might imagine. So in 2009, I stumbled across another business, which is what I do now. And I just thought, well, do you know what, why not? Let's give it a go. Didn't think I could do it. I saw myself as a mum, a physiotherapist, a wife. I didn't do that third one quite as well as I'd hoped. But I didn't see myself as a businesswoman. So there were many, I don't know if we're allowed to use the word challenges, because obviously breakthroughs are how you overcome those things, but there were quite a lot of hurdles for me to overcome. I ran both businesses alongside each other. I fell into the network marketing industry. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's absolutely fine. I didn't know what that was. I didn't even know that I was in the network marketing industry for the first 8 months of my new business. I just knew that I found something that was exciting, that I felt like me again, and wasn't really sure if I could do it. I was absolutely petrified at the thought of having a business. But it went very, very well, and I think looking back, it went very, very well because I was suddenly excited about something, and I had passion for something that I'd lost in my previous career.
Okay, well, thank you for, we'll go into some of the details of what you're sharing with us. Well, one thing I'd just like to say thank you for being a physiotherapist, because they saved my life and got me into you gave me a second 10 years physiotherapist. I was massaging. I understand the isolation. I used to, as a break period when I thought I was finished because my body wasn't any good, I started massaging and it was just dead. There was no one to talk to, nothing going on. I was like, I can't do this. But it was a massage therapist that saw that my injuries weren't a physiotherapist saw that my injuries weren't that bad. He said, in a few sessions I can get you up and going again. I was like, really?
Yeah,
it was like spines fused here, move that, toe was locked in here, move that out, got the neck cricked, and before I knew it, I did another 10 years.
We get a bad rap for, giving out pain, but actually 95% of what we do isn't painful.
No, yeah, I'm not sure about the 95, so I just find quite a bit of pain.
All right, 50-50.
There was this one guy who said to me, my neck was out, and I came and he goes, I said, what am I going to do? This neck keeps on going. He goes, retire. That was his only advice, but he was the one that kept me going for the next 10 years. So what was also, could you tell me a little bit about the transformation? What actually, it sounds like you found something that connected to your personality, yes, and what that meant, and the courage it took to take something that was leading you more than you were out, yes, going to get it.
So the business that I fell into, some of you may be aware of the company, is Forever Living Products, the aloe vera company. Now when I first looked at this, I thought, no way, I'm not selling aloe vera. I know people that do this. That is not what I want to do. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a pushy person. This is not for me. So I spent 3 months Googling, researching, doing everything like that. But something was pulling me towards it. And it wasn't the business, it wasn't the company, it was just, maybe like you say, my personality. I went to an event with a friend and in Malaga, and there was somebody speaking on stage, And what actually appealed to me with working with this company wasn't the aloe vera, wasn't the business. I said to my friend, can I be on stage speaking? And she said, yes. And that is actually what drove me. So I finally I'm going to have a microphone. So, I can't remember what you asked me now.
Well, that was actually it, because for me, one of the things you said at the beginning, you said, I should have been a rock star.
Yeah.
So,
in my mind.
Yeah, but there's that passion about something that grabs you to what... I remember what got me into dance was, I was breakdancing in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And I remember sitting in the car, I was like, how could I do this for the rest of my life? And then dance came into my life. I thought, oh, I can do it for the rest of my life. And it's interesting, you said, I want to be a rock star. And it was that moment when somebody said, can I be on stage? Suddenly it's relit and poof, you're there, which I find again and again when people find that trigger, then the doors can just open. So yeah, that was what I was asking you, the passion of what led you into it, and it seemed to be picking up at the microphone was the door that opened into
and at the time, I was very much in mum mode. My daughter was 2, I've had to bring her along today. She was 2 and my son was 7, and I was very, very unfit, very, very heavy for my frame, had some health issues. And in the flick of a switch of saying to my friend, can I be on stage with a microphone? So many things changed in my head that overnight, and this sounds really, really bizarre because it's nothing related to business, something switched in my head and I went from somebody who wanted to get fit and lose weight to somebody who was just different. And I just started living a different life, and I did get healthier and I did get fitter. I'm not the world's most fittest person. I'm never going to run a marathon, but I think that passion and excitement for something made everything in my life fall into place.
I love that bit when you said I'm never going to run a marathon. I was like,
no,
are you
I've got
sure?
a really bad knee.
Okay.
And I'm a physio, so I listen to myself.
Okay.
It's not good for you.
Okay, so so what was it about when you actually got into the network marketing? Was it an easy just forward direction, or were there a few? Could you explain how you developed within that area?
Well, initially, when I first decided to start, I did nothing for about 8 weeks because I was petrified and convinced myself that though I wanted to do it, I couldn't. And I realised, not particularly quickly, it was a fair few years on, that actually my biggest challenge, the biggest breakthrough I'd had to have was me, and I had to get out of my own way. So I did find it very hard initially. I was very excited, so that drove me, and I was definitely ignorance on fire. I didn't really know what I was doing. I would say to people, I don't really know how this all works. Let me kind of try and explain. I think it was my excitement and my passion, and that's what I've learned, is that if you are excited and passionate about your business, people will want to listen to you, people will be drawn to you, if you're an honest and nice person with it, obviously. But I found it hard. As I said, my daughter was 2, my son was 7. I was juggling another business, the school run, cooking dinner sometimes. I think I had a lot of guilt that I was the mum, so maybe I shouldn't be setting up another business because my actual job was the children. But I found ways around that. I found that it's okay to give a 2-year-old a banana for breakfast every day and they can do that for themselves. I found that pairing socks wasn't actually vital, and that you can give your whole family their socks back in singles, and actually the 2-year-old can wear odd socks if it comes to it, and a boy of 7 and a man of 38 can actually pair their own socks. So it was, you laugh, but it's small things like that actually, if you count up the time, the minutes in a year that you pair socks with, I'd never been a big ironer anyway, but if you iron, that can pretty much go. I used to just iron the front of my husband's shirts and tell him not to take his blazer off after a rugby match. And I just found ways of saving time, and then I found ways of getting over the guilt for why I wasn't doing these things. So I would work most evenings, so I do my physiotherapy clinic in the afternoon, and then my other business in the evening. And I rarely put my daughter to bed. I rarely was the one that bathed my daughter, and that gave me a lot. There were some evenings she was crying, "Mummy, please don't go out, please don't go out." What I realised was if I didn't go out and do this business, I would have to go out and work more hours in my physiotherapy clinic or another job. So it wasn't the case of I was just working for the fun of it. I wanted to provide for the future. And she doesn't even remember now those evenings that I wasn't in. You know, she doesn't remember the things that I didn't do. But what she does remember is that now, whenever, or for the last few years, whenever they've needed me, I'm there.
Yeah.
I can pick and choose.
Yeah.
But guilt.
Guilt's a lovely one, isn't it? It's just try and get that one out of the system. But there's a freedom when that bite disappears.
Definitely.
The sock bit I really love because I came across that issue. Pairing is really difficult for me, and I found out just having one colour of socks.
That's what I was saying. Just buy black socks.
Yeah, that's it.
We've got black socks and white socks in my house.
And I think sometimes what I find in business is it's all connected. There's not you can separate the life from the business. And like when I'm working with people, sometimes we are going on to things like pairing socks as a metaphor, because that influences the stress rate, and the stress rate then influences the body, and then the body influences decisions. Yeah. And the prediction that the mind makes when it's in a negative state is not as healthy as when it's in a better state. So it's very interesting that these details are important. It's like the BT cycle team, when they talk about they went for the 1%. Always improve the 1%. I think that's within our life. When we're looking at everything and we improve the 1%, there's an overall improvement that we can feel from that.
Yeah.
What also interested me is that you said, I'm not a salesperson. And what I find very interesting is sometimes there's an idea of what selling is, and then there's the reality of what good selling is. Yes. Could you explain to me how you found that difference from the old identity to who you are today?
So I was very much, I'm not a salesperson. I hate going into a shop. You're looking, ladies or gentlemen, you're looking for a new dress maybe, or a shirt maybe. And you walk into a shop and you either get ignored and you want to know the price of something and you're not getting anyone's attention, or the minute you cross that line to go in the shop, you've got 3 shop assistants, can I help you, madam? You don't really want either of those. You want someone that stands back, lets you kind of have a little browse, and then maybe has a conversation with you and understands what it is you're shopping for. What I realised is that, that's all selling, that's all sales, but actually just listening to someone and then helping them make a purchase is totally comfortable, because you're just kind of assisting what they want to do anyway. But I had in my head that sales was about, double glazing. I really hope I've not offended anyone and they're a double glazing person. In the olden days, double glazing, bog off and all that. I thought that selling was convincing enough people each day to buy your product, and that's how you were going to be successful, and that didn't sit well with me, and I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I found that actually the products that I have, and I think any product, it's about having that conversation with someone and working out how you can actually help them. And I think I had to learn to listen more than I talk, because generally I'm a talker. Although I'm very caring and want to listen to people, the talking does kick in. So I think for me, I had to learn to listen really, really well, and that then naturally sales happened.
Yeah, I think that's what I find, because I do sales training. That's one of the things I do is the listening. It's the fundamental strategy to connect with another human being. And there's this thing in sales where they say you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. I know it's sometimes a cliche, but the actual doing that is a lot more tricky than the actual, okay, listen more than I speak, listen more, and you get excited, and you start blah, 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 and then and it's just like, oh, go away. But as soon as you connect, as you would with a friend or somebody you want to connect with, then it becomes a very, very different place. And you're not, like you said, the idea of pushing, you're pulling people towards you, which is a lot gentler process. Yeah. So what do you see about the future with where do you see yourself developing to another business, or do you developing where you are, or where do you see yourself going?
So had you asked me that 5 years ago, 4 years into my business, I was, everything was still quite new, it was very successful. I thought, this is what I'm going to do forever. What I've now realised is what I do, for some people, that it's just what they do. They love it, they do it full-time or part-time, whatever. I work part-time hours now around my children. But no, the future for me, there is something else. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I just know it's out there. I'm going to be going back and doing a master's in positive psychology, because a lot of what I've learned over the last 9.5 years is a lot of people development. It's working with people, and that's the bit that I love, and that's basically what working with network marketing, good network marketing companies is about. It's about developing people. It's not about selling loads of products. So yes, I'm going to do a positive psychology master's, and I'll run that alongside this business. And then I think I'd like long term for my network marketing business to be the one that pays the bills, gives us the lifestyle. But for the other business, whatever that is, some sort of psychology, working with people, it means I can then give that service at cost to the person that, you know, if I need to work with someone who can't afford to see somebody that they need to, that I can offer that as a free service, or I can decide what I charge or people can offer, or if I work with corporates, then they can pay, you know, my daily fee or whatever. And then I think there's probably going to be something else, and I think that's what changing business and stepping away from being a physiotherapist has given me. I do love having my own business. I love having the control. But I also like the fact that, you know, we're here for many years, not as many as, you know, we might like, but you can change what you do and you can be excited about it, and just kind of doing it gives you the courage to do other things.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening.
And